Meeting has been provided and specified in the Act. Proper notice of this public meeting was provided in the notice. Said notice was posted at the entrance to the board office, mailed to the Nutley Sun, the Star Legend, and North Jersey Herald News, and the Nutley Journal, mailed to the Nutley Township Clerk, advertised in the Nutley Sun, posted on the district website. In consideration of all here present and in recognition of the importance of these proceedings, it is requested that all cell phones and pages be turned off or silenced for the duration of the meeting. Have the flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Cruzzo.
Marcelo.
Here.
Mrs. Sanchez Martin. Here. Mr. Guerrero. Mr. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Riley.
Here.
Mrs. Russo. Here. Mrs. Scalera.
Here.
Mrs. Pizzato. Mr. Kaczynski.
Here. We're going to deviate from our normal protocol tonight. We have Commissioner Rogers with us, who will be making some presentations. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. President and Superintendent of Schools and Nutley School Board. Before I begin the presentations, I just want to share with you how we got here tonight. There were a number of students throughout this district that came to our office over the summertime and volunteered to help us with a host of programs, and particularly helping our veterans, writing letters to senior citizens, visiting veterans, visiting senior citizens. But here's my point. They got here because of the hard, incredible work of their parents and of the teachers of this school district. You know, teaching's got to be a real rewarding career, because when you see what students do outside the school district, when you see them stepping up and becoming part of their community, that's a credit to every member of this school board, the superintendent of schools, and every teacher in this district, as well as their parents. What I'm talking about is character building. I've seen astounding things happen with the young people in this town. And we're not only talking about high school and middle school children, but you're going to see elementary school students here tonight receiving these certificates of appreciation. So I'm giving these awards to these students, but my hat's off to you all you here. I sat here. You know, I vowed when I left here I'd never come back. Never say never, but here I am. But I'm here for a good reason. Mr. Superintendent, you've done a great job. Mr. Board President, you and I have talked. The relationship that this school board has with our entire Board of Commissioners is probably the best in at least all the years I've been here. And to the teachers, I don't know if there are any, I see a few here tonight, but to the teachers.
They're always here, which we admire them for.
God bless you all. I mean, what you're going to see tonight are students that you know, brought life, you know, to our veterans, to disabled vets, to senior citizens. So without any further ado, I'm going to begin this. Whoever.
Yeah, we'll kind of take turns, so if the board members want to work your way up to hand out the presentations, that would be nice.
First, I'm introducing Lindsay Lopez. She works in our office. She's in charge of the Nutley Core program that has helped put this together. And this young fella, Brandon Castro, he is a Nutley High School graduate. He's now at a Fairleigh Dickinson University seeking his degree in criminal justice. He came to our office most of the summer to help these young people in this project. Young man, thank you very much. He's giving back to the community even now while he's in college. So thank you. And his mother's a teacher. Lori?
Yeah, we'll do it any way you want.
Taylor Waddleton. Taylor, come on. Now, I'm not going to read every award because they do say the same. They have the same type of award, but I'll read the first one so you get the flavor of what we're saying. The Township of Nutley Department of Public Affairs, Military Veterans and Affairs Bureau, as well as Nutley Corps, honors, in this case, Taylor Waddleton. This certificate is awarded to the above-named individual in recognition for participating in Nutley Corps for the year 2014. You made a lot of people happy. Thank you.
Ashley Glaceon. Thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do.
Ashley, job well done. And I notice you and your entire family follows me on Facebook, so I gotta be on my toes. Nicole Duda. Nicole? Krill Pavlov. Stephen Fidel. Hey, you're gonna learn from me real quick. In fact, I had a little surgery done here. And when I walked in, I said, "Where's the camera angle?" So.
Jamie Meyer. Tonight, so we'll make sure we get these certificates. Oh, Kirill's here. Kirill? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Job well done.
Job well done. You covered both of me because I'm a senior citizen and a veteran. You're going to have to take care of me pretty soon.
Pardon me? Want a picture? Sure. Skylar Demikov. Job well done. Really appreciate it. Your mom wants to take it. Come on, Charlie. When do you come?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
So one of the board members would like to come up. You can come up. Yeah, I know.
Haley Fernandez.
Turn around.
Here, hold on. Great.
Hannah Lewis.
And Hannah, you're also here for your sister Shauna? Okay.
Alex Harganen.
Alexa.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna
We
take
gotta
care
get
of
the spelling
that.
right.
I knew I got something wrong there. Good. Job well
He
done.
didn't graduate Nutley High School.
Was it in Belleville?
I don't wanna hear that.
Amanda Weishadel.
Amanda, thank you very much. That's okay.
We'll just get a nice
Yeah,
picture.
get a nice picture. Go ahead. Lauren Vasquez.
Thank you. Emily Carbone.
Sean Fitzpatrick. Oh, there are things going on tonight. So this would be the Fitzpatrick family. All their 3 children, Sean, Connor, and who else was in there? Sean,
Kathleen.
Kathleen. Logan, and Connor. Whole family. I believe it was Sean. His mother had told me he's very prolific. He's very good at history. And so I kind of put him to the test. I said, let me ask you something. Do you know who fought Rommel in Africa? Man, he mentioned George Patton, his entire biography, what division he was in. I mean, so this young man, again, a credit to the school district. Brandon Castro. I won't take up, did we miss anybody? That's important. Okay. Did we miss? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you and the school board for giving us the opportunity to be here. And to the students here, we have about 30 or 40 responses from your pen pal senior citizens. So what we're going to do is, we're going to gather you after the holidays and we're going to continue to write. Thank you. I salute you all. God bless.
Board up here for a picture, please.
All the students down?
The students.
Yeah, put it right on Twitter. Okay. All right. I did. How are you? Good, how are you?
Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody up here. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. On behalf of the Board of Education, I really want to thank the parents, students, Commissioner Rogers, we all appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, for what it's worth, we're going to go into closed session, so I don't think that the students. How you doing?
We'll deliver it to you. What's your address?
It could go like
Filming right now?
yeah, but go ahead. It doesn't matter.
Taylor, come on.
All right, folks, we're going to be going into closed session, so I'm going to read our orders and then we'll be back in. In compliance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, we're going to be, whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from the public discussion pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Education recessed to close executive session at this time to discuss student matters. Be it further resolved that the results of the discussion will be made public by inclusion on the agenda of a subsequent meeting of the Board of Education, or when the reason for discussing such matters in closed session no longer exists. A motion? Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Folks, we're probably going to be 15, 20 minutes, I would hope no longer, and we'll be back in session. Motion to approve the minutes. Motion to back into open. Thank you, Fred. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Now we'll have the approval of the minutes.
Motion.
Second, Debbie. Thank you. Correspondence? No correspondence. Presentations? Steve? Yes.
Mr. President, just following through with our strategic plan, there we go. And our curriculum action team, every year we do program reviews. We have 3 for this year, but the first of the 3 we introduced Mr. Odell's going to talk to us about our social studies program. Mr. Odell.
I'll be as brief as a history teacher ever can be. Give you the brief overview of the work that has been done so far with the program review. As the board is familiar with the process that we go through, our 5-year process, the Social Studies Department is currently in the program review and hopefully curriculum revision part of it. The goal is certainly to look at those aspects of social studies education that might inform our work going forward, specifically the New Jersey Department of Education model curriculum and the C3 framework. I want to give a very brief description of the current social studies department and its program, a quick data analysis of our student performance, and survey results and recommendations. One of the things that really does have an impact on us is that the New Jersey Department of Education is creating model curriculum in different subject areas. And for social studies, they've done so based on the 2009 standards. These standards did have a very quick edit over the spring, which means we now have to realign ourselves with certain cumulative progress indicators. This model curriculum also links to the Common Core, which you've heard so much about, and also is only done for the state mandated courses, which at the high school would be World History, US 1 and US 2. It is organized around enduring understandings and key student learning objectives. And each course is divided into 5 units with an assessment to follow. Those assessments were to be statewide assessments. As of this July, these assessments were changed to simply be exemplars for districts to use as they went forward creating their own local assessments. Speaking as a member of actually one of the state committees, I'll tell you that the current progress is only up to Unit 3 out of the 5. There are multiple assessment formats. They link to a few key SLOs, which are the most important parts, and to the Common Core. And regardless of how the assessment is designed, there is always a writing component to it. Thus, a lot of the work in the Social Studies Department being done to reinforce the writing program in each building. Another program that is very important is what's known as the C3 framework. It is a national program organized, you see 21 states and certain major social studies organizations. While New Jersey has not yet formally adopted it, you can see the Department of Ed is looking for people to provide professional development on it. We actually tried to get ahead of the curve in Nutley and provided some PD on that back in November. The organizing principle is something called the inquiry arc. We're trying to get our students to be curious, involved learners. It matches the instructional models we've been pushing forward as a district. There are 4 dimensions. The first is developing the questions and the inquiries, which goes right to the student engagement. Dimension 2, applying social studies concepts. There's great fear that social studies would be overwhelmed by the Common Core, and that simply become almost an adjunct to the English department. This is trying to reinforce the very important learning that should come out of social studies. The whole reason for C3 is with all that work on college and career readiness, the feeling was that there was a 3rd C that was not being addressed, civic readiness. That one of the key purposes of education is to get our youngsters ready to be effective citizens in our democracy. The 3rd dimension in the inquiry arc is evaluating sources using evidence, which goes right to all the work we have been doing with teaching with documents, reinforcing the reading and the writing programs. And dimension 4, the end product, that the students can communicate conclusions and, where appropriate, take informed action, that they will be the kinds of citizens we want them to be. That's simply a model of what the inquiry arc looks like, and you see that unlike the New Jersey standards, which are very history-centric, this very clearly tries to identify work in civics economics, geography, history, and there are appendices for other subjects such as sociology, anthropology, and psychology. Our current program is based on various reviews and revisions we've done from 2010 or earlier, especially some of the early elementary programs were done much earlier. Key is that it's in a format that the teachers do not find very usable. This is one of the key pieces of feedback that we've received as they go forward, planning, looking to work on their instruction or their assessment. So it's one of the things we'd like to look at. Instruction does occur in every year of our K-12 sequence. We start to infuse the technology in as we get to the upper elementary grades. There are a scarcity of external benchmarks in social studies. We are not a state-assessed subject, so you see a lot of our data is internal. One thing we will link to is the AP scores. In the elementary program, we're based on what's pretty much called an expanding horizons curriculum. If you can picture a series of concentric circles working out from knowing about myself to my family to my neighborhood to my world. But what we've tried to do in conjunction with what the state has asked for is infuse actual history content into those expanding horizons. When that particular curriculum was designed, the then state social studies coordinator used to constantly make the phrase, "One more trip to the firehouse isn't going to cut it." And we have taken him at his word and tried to infuse more actual social studies content into the curriculum. So look at grade 6, we actually began our transition into the middle school level. When this curriculum was done, we were anticipating a statewide assessment in grade 8. There are 3 strands in the state standards, and we wanted to make sure we hit every strand prior to that anticipated assessment, which has since been delayed. So in grade 6, it's heavy on the civics and hitting strand 6.3. And that kind of transitions us into the middle school, where we hit the next 2 strands. Grade 7 focuses on strand 6.1, which is United States history up to Reconstruction. And grade 8 is the first part of a 2-year world history sequence. Grade 8 will get up to about the year 1500 CE, and then the students transition from there across the street to the high school where they pick up the modern world. These are our high school offerings, the 3 state mandated courses. You see we have 4 AP offerings and a host of electives on the books. Looking at our data and some of the benchmarks we can look at, we want to make sure that we actually align with external benchmarks when we can, and in this case the AP scores. You see that some of our courses align somewhat with them, and others not quite as much, and so we feel we want to do some more work on that and try to better align ourselves. We also put out a survey, many of you may have received it through Naviance, asking for input as to the program. I just want to take you very quickly, this will be available on the website. I will not make you look at every slide, but I want to address a few of them. Our feeling is that we want to be an excellent district, and so we want to know that our scores are from 8 or higher. So looking at how many of our respondents came in 7 or lower, and every one of those, somewhere between 50 and 70% felt that there was room for improvement. This particular one, Global Perspectives, happened to actually be 63% of the respondents felt that we could do a little more work there. One of the ones, this one, is actually the one that came in with the highest score for doing well, and it reflects the work that has been done by the Social Studies Department. They've been working very hard on teaching with documents, reading for bias and perspective, and so that one came in at break even 50%. You see most of the columns are to the right. And of course, we do want to, one of the areas we want to grow is teaching the students to use data and quantitative analysis, that in a heavily partisan age, they can get their own data, that they're not reliant upon whatever is given to them by the media, that they can analyze it themselves. To that end, we're actually pioneering a program called MapLine. We're actually part of it. We are the district pioneering for the rest of the country as this company tries to break into the market. And they can take the data, learn to put it in spreadsheets, they can heat map it, look for relationships and conclusions, and so the quantitative analysis we're trying to push forward. Recommendations, we do want to review the sequence again, K to 4, and further infuse some more actual social studies content into the expanding horizons. This actually includes economic concepts, which can be taught at a very, very young age. To that end, we have a program called Virtual Economics 4.0. We do want to explore additional elective options in the high school. Our current offerings tend to favor the honors track, and we want to get some more offerings for every student to pursue social studies content. We would like to see the inquiry arc being part of every course, and certainly anchor our AP courses to at least AP items. For the curriculum, again, we have to realign our CPIs. We do want to work on enduring understandings and essential questions to facilitate the planning. Once again, the inquiry arc and the C3 framework. We do want to look at the current sequence and maybe model ours more on the model curriculum and perhaps allow more time to look at Modern America. Also update our K-12 curriculum maps and assessments. In terms of staffing, given the current projections of the configuration committee from the strategic plan, they feel that we may need at least 2 more teachers to keep our current course offerings going. And if we do pursue those electives, at least 1 additional teacher. And the middle school has just made a transition to the middle school model, and we hired 2 new teachers to accomplish that. We'd like to see that maintained. Certainly want to infuse the technology so that we do have the 21st century citizens that we want our students to become. And given the age of our materials, we do have to look at what materials we are offering our students. And this is our 5-year outlook. Very similar chart as we go through the process. We're currently in year 0 right now, as you can see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odell. Appreciate the work that your group has put into this. I'm sitting in on the academic committee meeting with Mrs. Danchak and Mr. Ryan. It was very comprehensive.
Ms. Lucia, thank you for that technical support. Mr. Odell, thank you very much. Just while he's here, to recognize the board again, Mr. Odell this year was recognized by his colleagues as the Supervisor of the Year in Social Studies for the state of New Jersey, so congratulations. And his year 0 through year 4 is exceptionally similar to our years 1 through 5 in our strategic planning curriculum team. And again, just another example of that work, supported by the budget, supported by the staff, thank you to the teachers for sure, but making sure that we're focusing on all of our curricular areas. I know Mr. Odell has waited patiently through this process, chomping at the bit to get social studies up on the block, and so we're here and we're happy we're here, so thank you very much. As part of an annual requirement, we need to make sure that we're having a public presentation each year on the measures that we use to protect ourselves, our students, our information technologically. And so to do that, we have Mr. Beemeister and Mr. Levine. I need you again, Ms. Lucia.
No spots.
No spots. We went extra.
Great. Essentially, as Mr. Lazovic said, in order for us to comply with the Child Internet Safety or Child Internet Protection Act, there are a number of things that we need to do as a district. Number 1 is to have a internet content filter, and the second one is to have a policy that talks about internet safety. So we do use a internet content filter. We use a system called Lightspeed, which blocks out unnecessary content while students are browsing the internet. Many teachers, kids have come across the blue screen that comes up when they're going to sites that are blocked by the filter. The other thing is the internet safety policy. It's policy number 2361, talks about what we have in place and the processes in place to protect our students. That's available on the district website if anyone cares to read it. Essentially.
Talk about the work with the focus in case of this summer. As you made adjustments based on the amount of families that we've been getting.
Different kinds of filters, actually.
Yes, I know.
Not email spam filters in this case. We're talking about specifically web access and filtering out
We need to speak video into this.
Violence, pornography, obviously school inappropriate material, while making sure that material that is appropriate for school at the appropriate grade level can be made available. It also has the ability for teachers who sign up for it to override some of those categories, in case of art classes, where sometimes some of the contents may hit a filter, and yet is appropriate for an AP art class. That is available for teacher use there.
And one of the things that our filter does provide is in exploring the bring your own device environment that we're looking towards. Allows us to have students log into the network using their username and password when we move
And apply the restrictions to their device.
I think that would be a concern if we start to have students bringing in their own devices. How do we limit their use of their private device in our school?
Technologically, we can limit the use when they're connected to our network. If somebody brings a device that's connected to a cellular network, at that point, there's not a technical solution for that.
But on our property, using their own equipment and working on our program, we can limit their use on what,
Yes.
And part of what we do is teach internet safety, proper usage, websites to go to, so.
thank you.
I have one question on
Sure.
So on the filtering, so do we follow what's being, the new thing that's being searched and then block it as we find it? Do we
Well,
have?
we subscribe to a service that does that.
Okay.
Their business is to locate things that should be blocked that are new and have them to the list.
And then they let you know and then you block it on the filter, or they?
No, they automatically.
Also, it's a service we're paying, the filter is the service we're paying for,
Yes.
it was live on,
Yes.
that answers the question. That's fine, thank you.
Great to some of that sometimes comes from us communicating to our administrators, to Mr. Biameister, to let them know that we're seeing a lot of this all of a sudden.
Sorry, we can request things to be added to it as well, and then it'll show for the other guys.
No, but my point, we're paying for a service that's actually doing live monitoring, being reactive for us
Yes.
before we do find things that we can feed them, and that
Yeah,
solves.
it's not a static list that we maintain right now.
That's what I mean, so it's proactive, thank you.
And if there's a site that someone needs to go to, then we can certainly open it up if necessary.
Yeah, this categorizations do so happen and can be done.
Thank you very much. Mr. Leslie.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kuzinski. A brief report. Brief isn't short, concise. I want to thank the teachers for being here today. Kick it off like that. Mrs. Carroll's here every meeting tonight, but she's with friends today. So thanks everyone for coming out, even some of our high school staff members who may be here under their own decision-making or just because they're married to a teacher.
I support Mr. Odell.
There you go. I received an interesting piece of information. Did you write something about Mr. Alexander Hamilton?
I did.
Could you explain that a little bit to the board?
I was lucky enough to have a research article that I wrote while I was in graduate school. I improved it over the course of the last 2 years and had it published by a peer-edited journal by the New York State Historical Association. Just recently.
If I could add just one thing, that has actually been referenced in other articles that are now showing up, other scholars are picking up his work.
And Mr. Dwyer, congratulations. That's actually how it came to my attention. It's not necessarily the article itself, but that other people were using the article in part of their argument.
And I didn't even know that yet. So.
Congratulations again. Thanks to all the teachers for being here. Sticking with staff recognition, something we want to share is that Mr. Baron Raymond was actually featured in the holiday issue of the Montclair magazine for his community service work and obviously his instrument playing. He's been all around playing with some of the greats, but this was nice because it was really about giving back. And it's nice to see our teachers, not just here, but out in the community, like our students, just contributing to things that make this community great. Student recognition. We had the Patriot Pen Essay Contest. An essay was submitted by Tyler Locke from the Anacross School, grade 6, which is now it's been chosen district-wide to compete for the contest across multiple districts. So again, congratulations to Anacross. He's playing today. Competition goes all the way up to the national level where the winner actually receives $5,000. So we're rooting for Tyler. I know it's been a while between. Since our last meeting, we had our With our communications action team, our parent meeting on assessment, specifically PARC, a number of board members were there. We had a fantastic turnout, a couple hundred parents and community members for some great conversation. The notes are better online. Again, so if anyone's interested in following up, please do so. We also had our ESL bilingual parent meeting, which Mr. Materia is running, is continuing to run, trying to get more people involved in those conversations to make sure we're supporting each community within our larger community. Also had middle school students talk about presentation and our community action team, not communications, not curriculum, but now community. A nice example was Mr. Rogers' work with our students, but the idea of our community action team is to get the learning and action of our students outside of school, so they're contributing and participating in the larger community. Members of the middle school here did a research project on our system of government in the township of Nutley, which is somewhat unique. But the commission form of government, working with the various commissioners doing research, and they actually made interdisciplinary presentations for an audience that included a number of our commissioners, really getting their learning out, having interesting conversation, and I will say it was interesting, with our commissioners about how the government here in Nutley operates and why it's beneficial for our community. So it's a nice example, and kudos to the teachers for making that happen as well as this evening. On Tuesday, previous, Dr. Galani, Mrs. Christian Talamine, met with the leaders of our SCIP teams, just to update the board again. Those are the state-required panels that are in each school, there to make sure that we are appropriately following the state process for observation. We met with them just to review presentations that had happened at our November 4th training, as well as answer questions, and to try and ensure as best as we can that information is getting out to each building, and that information is consistent as possible, because that's critical. I want to congratulate Ms. DeVillio and all of the people at the high school guidance department, as well as administration, faculty, and staff. On December 4th, we held yet again our instant decision day. There were 229 college acceptances given out that one day alone to our students, including Caldwell College, Felician, William Patterson, Centenary, Seton Hall, NJIT, Fairleigh Dickinson, and Kane. Students saved over $12,000, not having to put through the application fees. They saved over $3,500 in SAT and ACT fees for reporting. Scholarships were offered. We had guaranteed first-year scholarships of over $1.5 million, and a projected 4-year savings of just under $6.5 million just from that day. So congratulations. It's a lot of work on the high school side to put that together. I did get over there to see our counselors. They were running around like crazy. But the kids, everyone has smiles on their face. They used literally every office they could find to make sure that the college admissions counselors could meet the kids one-on-one. It really is a great day, and I would recommend getting over there just to see the mayhem. But again, it really worked out and benefited our students, so congrats and thanks to them. Professional development, both in science and language arts, continues. At this point in time, through our Readers Workshop plan, it's been a number of tiers. That's background music for this one. But my understanding is at this point, every single elementary teacher has begun their tiered training in workshops, so we're moving through that. And with science, Mr. Vania trying to keep our teachers. Oh, it's Phil. It's Phil.
And it's just.
Mr. Sclair, can you call him again?
We can do that.
But just stick with our strategic plan. Our teachers have taken on a great deal. One of the major switches at the elementary level was to teaching of science or in the science program. The board has invested in that kind of professional development where teachers are receiving multiple times a year training just on the unit they're about to teach prior to actually teaching. So it's one of our focus, trying to make sure we are as prepared as possible. So thanks to Mr. Vanning and the staff. Forensics tournament. Dr. Bly and I had the opportunity to see our elementary students in action, and were they in action. Some rousing renditions of pieces of literature. I want to thank Mrs. Woods-Murphy, Mrs. Velasco, Mrs. Oakley, who led the process district-wide, all the students and parents who spent hours preparing those pieces. At each school, we had competitions. Those competitions led to the district competition, and we have a number of our students moving on in the county, so congratulations to all of them. The actual competition countywide take place on the 16th, and prior to this, some of our high school students served as our own internal judges. These were students that had participated in forensics prior, and it was nice talking to them for the experiences that they had, but also coming back as judges. They felt that they had come full circle, so great for them. Our correlettes, another good piece of news, for the 54th year in a row, performed seasonal music for Nutley Road. On the direction of Mr. Valleys, with Mr. Riley's support, it really was a terrific concert in the middle of the day. They performed a number of staples that have been consistent for 54 years, as well as some new pieces. So stretched themselves, and has always sounded incredible. So just really kudos to our students and to the staff and music department. Moving away from those pieces, re-registration. To update the board, as of now, our registration office is still finalizing the work from last week's face-to-face. Thanks to Mr. Biemeister, we have currently 191 students who have yet to be registered. Letters will be going out to those families, as well as phone calls being made to those houses, letting them know that they do not schedule a face-to-face appointment during our regular operating hours. That on Monday, a week from today, they'll be receiving notice that their students will be disenrolled from Nutley Public Schools starting January 5th. In other words, they'll have until the break, and then they will not be coming. Based on the response we get from those, I will then update the board. As of now, we've successfully re-registered every student minus those grade levels that we had exited because of recent registration. We're down to 191. So thank you, Mr. Biemeister, for his system. Certainly Mr. Ferrara and Ms. Boyle for their other work in the office, as well as the other staff members that the board was still willing to hire. We were mobbed, if you'd gone over there Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday last week, line all the way to the gym. So thanks for all that work. Continuing our updates on strategic plan, the character action team continues their work to coordinate the activities within the district. Our communications action team, I mentioned a number of their efforts recently, and you just saw Mr. O'Donnell as a strong example of what our curriculum action team is doing. QSAT on the agenda for final approval with our initial DPR reports, and we're expecting to be visited as of now February 17th for our official visit. And again, just as a reminder, we have the VA coming from Essex County, we have the academic officer coming from Hudson County, Union County, sorry, and then we have our governance and personnel coming all the way down in Monmouth County. So that will be interesting. Some important upcoming dates are NJ Cap Parent Information Session for elementary parents, or parents of elementary students, January 6th. And a number of NJ Cap trainings happening at the end of January. I just want to wish everyone, as I sum up, a happy, healthy end to 2014. Happy Hanukkah this week, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope everyone's safe. And Mr. President.
Mrs. Jennings.
Thank you. Today we conducted the payroll verification process, and I would just like to extend my thanks to all of the building secretaries, principals, Ms. Council, Mrs. Torres, and Mrs. Hollywood for their assistance with this process, and more importantly to all of the staff for their cooperation in making the process go very smoothly. Please don't forget, those are actual live checks, so make sure you get to the bank and cash them. This is a process that we have to conduct every 3 years, so we're good for a while. Also want to report that as of today, we have installed plywood barriers along Franklin Avenue across the oval, so that will diminish any salt from hitting the bleachers throughout the winter season. And that work was done by our in-house buildings and ground staff, so thank you to Mr. Nicolette for getting to that as quickly as possible. And that's my report.
Thank you. Committee reports. Ms. Nanchek?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Academic Committee met on Tuesday, December 9th. Mr. Odell presented the Social Studies Program Review that you saw here tonight. Mr. Riley presented the Fine and Performing Arts Program Review, as well as suggestions for future program changes. Mr. Riley will present his work during the January board meeting. Dr. Reed and Mr. Lardier presented the findings from the middle school youth survey. A public presentation will be made in conjunction with middle school staff at the January board meeting. Dr. Villani reviewed the 2015-16 CUSAC district score report and also the 15-16 academic calendar, including the proposed professional days. Other subjects discussed included math tutoring program, 5-year budgeting process, professional development, and field trips.
Thank you. Mr. Carnasella.
Finance Committee met on December 10th. We spoke about the final billing on the bleachers and the high school roof, painting of the flag poles, which should start this Wednesday, is that right, weather permitting. We also discussed the 2014-15 budget as well as the 2015-16 budget. We discussed the finance resolutions in tonight's agenda as well as CUSAC. We covered we talked about the lease for our buses, trash removal with the township, and reviewed the district calendar for the 2015-16 school year.
Thank you. The administration committee also met on December the 9th. We talked about the technology update, which was presented tonight. We talked about the athletic program. We also discussed CUSAC. We dealt with the academic calendar for the upcoming year. We dealt with some recommendations for hire, some job descriptions. We had a legal update, and then we reviewed the policies that you see on tonight's agenda. Any other committee reports? We've now come to the portion of our meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions or comments on only the resolutions addressed in tonight's agenda. Our board regulation allows 20 minutes for these communications. Each person should be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask you to try to stay within this requirement. Speakers may speak more than once, only after all members wishing to speak on a topic have been heard. All statements will be directed to me as the chairperson. No one may address board members individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to always state your name and address each and every time you address the board. The first person can come forward. Seeing none. Ms. Danchek, will you take the academic resolution, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move the academic resolutions 1 through 4 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes on 1 through 3, no to 4.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes on 1 through 3, no on number 4.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Ms. Kaczynski?
Yes. Mr. Scalera, will you take administration resolutions, please?
Chairman, I'd like to move administration resolutions 1 through 5 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes. Mr. Carnasella, finance, please.
I'd like to move, Mr. Kaczynski, I'd like to move finance resolutions 1 through 18 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes. Mr. Klein, can you take personnel, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I move personnel resolutions 1 and 2 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Carnasella?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes. We now come to the time where we accept questions or comments on all school-related matters. Our regulations allow 30 minutes for these communications. Again, each person should be limited to 3 minutes. We ask you to try to stay within this requirement. As I stated earlier, all statements will be directed to me. The first person can step forward. Hearing none. I know you want to say something, so go ahead. Yes, Mr.
Being on 1 year, to want to speak.
Well, it's different, it's quiet tonight for a change.
Yeah, so it'll be quick. Alex Rubens, 354 Hillside Ave. Over the weekend, I distributed a packet to all of you board members, Mr. Lazovic and Ms. Yeomans. And I would like to read the letter portion of it into the record, if I may.
I don't see a reason for that. All the board members received the email. We're perfectly cognizant of what your concerns are. If you'd like to give a copy of it to the paper, that's your privilege, I guess.
Okay, so I don't need to read it in for you.
I don't, yeah, it's not an issue for us one way or the other.
Well, since I'm here, I may as well.
Okay.
So this is addressed to the board. And it opens, I would like to raise the issue of the park test refusal which is not opt-out, as was the case in the NJ Ask, but is a direct refusal to participate in the experimental, unproven federal assessment program. Many parents in the district have opted their children out of the NJ Ask over the years for a variety of reasons and never experienced a hostile response as they are now getting from the PARCC tests. Many informed parents around the state realize that the Common Core curriculum and PARCC testing are bad, wrong, and dangerous on so many levels. Thousands have signed petitions, attended board meetings, as I am, and will attend the State Board of Ed meeting in Trenton on January 7th to bring the case to recommend abolition of this unproven, dangerous, federally funded experiment within our state. Several states have passed legislation to revert off the Common Core standard, and Virginia, Texas, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Alaska are states that have had the good sense to never go on the dangerous curriculum. Furthermore, several states that adopted the curriculum are not administering the PARCC exams. Florida and Arizona are examples as such. And New York has put a 5-year delay on implementing the tests. The NGEA, or Teachers Union, succeeded in getting the governor to commission a panel to review the PARCC and present recommendations whether to proceed with the unproven experimental program. The State Commissioner of Education presented a guideline to the districts to not provide alternative settings for students whose parents choose to refuse the test, effectively imposing punitive punishment upon them by forcing them to sit and stare at the computer during the time of the test. Boards of Ed around the state have adopted resolutions respecting parental rights to refuse state testing for their children and provide a productive alternative setting for those not taking the test. Attached in the packet are resolutions from Bloomfield, our neighbor in the county, and Delran from October 7th and December 8th respectively, that support and respect parental rights to choose how their children will be assessed academically in the most appropriate manner for them. Furthermore, the Delran Education Association presented a well-articulated, thoroughly detailed position paper on why the PARCC assessments are wrong, and to urge their board to adopt the resolution that they did. It is also attached as an attachment. And I urge you, our elected board, to adopt a similar resolution in support of parental rights to choose whether our children will participate in this unproven federal experiment and to not impose punitive measures against them. There is an update. Montclair Board of Ed is voting on a similar policy to support the parental rights to refuse the tests as we speak tonight. And there are others, that I didn't want to make a whole dissertation on that.
We appreciate your input. There has been some discussion. We've all received your emails, and I appreciate your concerns.
Will we see an update in future meetings? Let's look about that.
There will be some discussion about it. I don't know if there'll be an update, but there certainly will be some discussion about it.
Okay, now I've taken the liberty of sharing this letter with social media, the Nutley, social media pages, and one of the groups is putting together a petition that they will present to you sometime in the near future. So this is the beginning of the wave.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Any old business to come before the board? I have some old business that Mr. Valero was supposed to remind me of, but I'm glad you first. I haven't been receiving the athletic schedule of the games that we
Right, I was bringing up the new.
Okay. That's helpful with the busy schedule that we have to find out who's playing and what. It's coming out of the
Transition over to the next season.
Okay.
I will let Mr. Tyron know.
I'm sure you will. I was going to do that, but it's better coming from you. Mr. Klein.
Our Parents Advisory Group, we met last Thursday evening. Some of the things discussed were staffing updates, professional development going on district-wide, as well as we discussed the park and actually went through some park test questions with the parents. Next meeting is scheduled for January.
Thank you. Any new business coming before the board? Mr. Sawyer.
So I'd like to speak about our Yuletide concert. If anybody's in attendance, and Mr. Riley opened it very well, and I won't go through all the different teachers and programs, but you know, I have to talk about our string program. You know, we brought a string teacher on. This is going into our third year, I think. We had tremendous, if you had heard the solo by one individual, the things that go on, they've started a once-a-week set on the Kids on Time, a 7-period kind of like string lab, like we have the jazz band that gets together on their own time and puts it together. It was phenomenal. The concert band, the jazz lab, which they work on again on their own, was just really phenomenal. When you got to the choralettes, the chamber singers and the choir, if you were sitting there listening to it, and please, it was taped. I don't have our schedule. It's going to go up on our channel.
Upload it as we speak right now.
Upload as we speak. Thank you, because I've been pushing for that multiple times. Thank you. Appreciate it. But please go on. Listen to the music that our students in this district. If you listen during one of the choirs, and I've never even seen a drum that Nick Suttle used before, that he sat on a square box, but heard him play while the choir was performing, it was truly excellent. And our program is really excelling, and I wanted to acknowledge that. Also on the calendar. One other update I'd like to give you, you know, hockey, I'm the president of the club, but our hockey program for the first time ever is 4-0 starting the season. They're tied for first place with 6 points. It's the best we've ever done early in the year. Our JV program's at 2-0, being very successful, and the school board has been very active in building that program here, and I just wanted to thank everybody. They hear me talk about it all the time, but we truly get support. Our kids are out there really excelling. I'd like to thank Joe, Mr. Dwyer also came and supported our sale, and Mrs. Danchak Martin for our fundraiser, and it's been a great time. And to everyone else, but one last thing, our mics are disappearing little by little. I keep hearing we're getting them. I wanted to bring that up and say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for coming to the board meetings. This board really works very hard. I hope you do watch us on our local access station and see what's being done for our students and how our students are performing. Thank you.
Thank you. I also had the pleasure of attending a fundraiser for Spring Garden School over at Barnes & Noble, and the 5th and 6th grade choir performed there, and they were impressive. It was a nice crowd, it was a nice turnout, and our children did an outstanding job. So again, I also want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Anyone else like to say anything? If not, where's the Board of Education? I'm sorry.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Charlie!
Stay in the boardroom for board members. Whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from public discussion pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12, now therefore be resolved. The Board of Education recessed to close executive session at this time to discuss student matters. Be it further resolved that the results of this discussion will be made public by inclusion on the agenda of a subsequent meeting of the Board of Education, or one of the reasons for discussing such matters in closed session no longer exists. Make a motion? Motion. Second. Second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Oh, you realize